welcome to this video. I just gave an interview recently for a front-end developer. So the interviewer gave me the small project in React.js that I have to build in order to pass the interview. So let me show you the demo of the project. So it looks easy to some of you guys, but it is what it is. All that matters is I just got a job. So this is the project. This is basically a blank screen. There are 3 buttons above. This is undo, redo, and clear. So the task is basically whenever the user clicks on the screen, it just appears the circle on that point, right? So if the user clicks anywhere in the screen, the circle appears with random color, as you can see in the video. So after that, the button appears. So there are 3 buttons. The undo button is basically doing the removing the last circle in the screen. So if I click this button, the last circle will disappear like this. And then if I click on redo, it just revert back the undo circle. And if I click clear, it just basically remove all the circles from the screen. It looks easy to some of you, but it's a little bit tricky. So I just want to show you the demo before I start building it. So the colors is basically random in all circles. We can undo the last circle and we can redo as well the last circle that we just undo like this, and we can clear all the circles at one time. So let's start building it and get to the Visual Studio Code. So I have opened Visual Studio Code and the browser side by side. Now let's create a new React project from scratch. Okay, so the project has been created. Now let's start building it. Go to source folder and open app.js file. So first of all, I will build the UI for our project. So let's remove this header section and let's empty that, and now let's run a server. Okay, our server has been started. So let's create our UI first. So I want to have 3 buttons above, and that is undo, redo, and clear. So let's create that. Okay, let's make an empty fragment and wrap this div element inside this fragment. Copy this and paste it here. Let me change some settings here. And now go to text editor and select this formatting section and click on this format on save. Now if I want to format this document, I just need to save this file. So let's add some class names here. I also want to add class name for the button as well. Okay, so now after the div element, let's create a new div element and let's name it to app, which is our main UI and all the logic here, right? So okay, so now let's add some styling here as well. Open CSS file and remove all the styles here like this. Okay, so let's add here. I want to make the width to 100%. Height is 100 view height, and the background color is, you can add any background color as you want. So I will make it to black like this. Okay, so after that Let's add some styling to the buttons as well. Now add some styling to individual button as well. Okay, so you can see our UI has been completed for now, and it's also a responsive UI. If you make it smaller, it is always in the center and is completely mobile responsive. Okay, so now let's close this app and let's start building our logic for the app. So I want to undo the last circle, so let's make a function for that. So I want to add on-click handler on the button, and this function I want to name it to undo circle, right? So let's copy this on-click handle and add to the other buttons as well, and change it according to the functionality. So it will basically do a redo the last circle, and now this button is clearing all the data on the screen. But now it is showing an error that these functions are not being initialized yet. So let's make this happen and remove this error. Okay, so I just created all the functions that we need in order to build our logic. So let's create the states for our circles, and in that state I have to store all the circles data in that array. So let's create an array, and import that geostate hook from React, and by default it is an empty array, right? So okay, now our main element is this div element, right? This is the which is we added the class name app. So we want to access all the screen. If whenever user clicks on anywhere on the screen, the circle should appear on that point. So let's access that by div element by using onClick handler, and this will render a function which I'll just create later, add circle, right? And I want to pass the event object into this function like this. Now let's create this function above and get that event object as a param, right? So if we console this event object, you can see the result on the Chrome DevTools. Save this file and let's open the developer tab and open the console from here. Okay, so now if we refresh and if a user clicks on, and you can see our event object is showing in the console. Let's open this object, and here I can get the value of the user click event. So the value is here, like this one, client X and client Y. So let's click. Okay, so this object giving me the value of that particular point in client X and client Y. So we can get these values of that click by using this client X and client Y. So let's get that. If we console these values, e dot client X and e dot client Y. Now clear the console and click again on the screen, and you can see this is our x-axis value and this is our y-axis value, which we are getting from this event object, right? So remove the console and add some logic here. So get that this state variable function set circles and add to the array, right? So this is our array, and first of all we can get all the circles, previous circles, from spread operator using spread operator, right? So now I want to push the latest object whenever user clicks in that array, right? So I have to add some keys as well. So x value will be e dot client x, right? And y will be equal to e dot client y. So save this, and now let's check the console here. So now we want to console from this circles array. So let's console these circles, and now let's test our result in the console. Okay, clear the console and reload the page. Now if I click this on the screen, we can see an empty array first time, right? And if we click again, again, and again, now we can get all the values in that array circles from the event object. Okay, so now you can see we're getting an array of objects, and we can get all the values from here, right? So now we're getting all the data that we need. So now let's render in the UI as well. So in that div element, I want to map through this circles array. So let's make sure it's not empty so that our application cannot broke. So let's get some index as well. So let's return our circle. So let's add the key by using index, right? Now in this div element, I want to add the style prop. So in that style prop, I have to make it the position of the circle to absolute, right? So let's add the style. Position will be absolute, and the top position, I have to add the value of y which we are getting in the circle object and add to the top. So let's add this circle dot y, and I want to add left value as well. So the left value will be circle dot x-axis value. Okay, save the file, and now let's test the result. If I click on, okay, so we are getting the values, but we are not getting any data on the screen. So I have to add some styling as well to see the data. So let's add some styles here. Now open CSS file and add some styling to this circuit class. Okay, so I have to add some color in order to see the result on the screen. So let's add some color as well. So let's say first I want to see the red color circles. Okay, so we are getting the expected result on the screen. As you can see, we successfully created our first requirement from the project, said when a user clicks on anywhere on the screen, the circle should appear on that particular point, right? So now let's add some margin here for getting perfect position. So I want to make it to -8, right? And add to the top as well. Okay, so now if we click on, you can see we are getting the expected result here. Now let's add functionality to render the circles in a random order. Basically, we want to render the circles in random color, right? So for now, close this CSS file, and above in the add circle function, let's create a random number, create random color, right? So we can add the random circle by getting math.random function and multiply into some random value. You can add any value up to the random you want to add. And now we have to convert this number into string in order to see the expected result. So let's add to the 16, up to 16, right? Okay, so we successfully created our logic for random colors. So now let's remove this red, and okay, first of all, we have to add some color property in this circle object. So after the Y key, we can add another key like color, and we can pass this using template string. and pass that variable that we just created like this. Okay, so now let's remove this red and we can get the value of the random color. Circle dot color. Okay, so let's reload this and let's test. Okay, how cool it is, guys. We can see the random colors of our circles, right? So we successfully created our next logic, and now let's make this buttons functional, right? So for now, undo, go to undo function, and first of all we need to check if circles is not empty, right? So say if circles not empty, return nothing. It is basically checking that if circle is empty, return nothing, and if circle is not empty, we can undo the last circle that the user created. So let's create a reference of the circles array in new variable. So we want to pop the last circle from the array. So I want to name it pop circle like this, and now JavaScript provides a pop function to remove the last element from the array. And now we want to update the circles array as well in order to see the expected result on the screen like this. Okay, for now remove that, and now let's check if the function is working or not. So if I click on undo, okay, you can see the circle is disappearing one by one in order, right? So that's good. Now go to this. Now for the redo circle, go to this redo circle function, and to make it functional, we have to add a new state variable for the popped circles array, right? So let's make it happen. So I'm creating a new array variable. And by default, it is empty as well, like in the circles array. So go to this redo circle function. First of all, we will check if the array is not empty. So if the pop circles array is empty, returns nothing. And if it is not empty, we want to update the pop circles array. First get all the previous circles from the array and add to the popped circles by pushing to the last in the array like this. So let's test this functionality, reload the page and add some circles on the screen. First we will test undo. Okay, it is working fine. Now if we click on redo, okay, now it is not working properly, so let me fix that. Okay, the issue is basically in this function undo circle. So after this set circles, we also want to update the pop circles array in order to redo the last circle, right? So let's update this array as well. First get all the previous circles and push the last pop circle in the array. Now go to this function and save this file, and now let's test again. So first let's add some circles here on the screen. Now let's test this undo functionality. Okay, so it is working fine. Now let's click on redo button. Okay, it is also working fine. We can undo the circle, we can redo the circle as well. Okay, so our last task is basically clearing all the data by clicking on this clear button. And it is so simple, guys. Go to this function and empty all the arrays that we just created above, circles and pop circles like this. And now it should work as expected. Okay, I've added the circles here. First, let's test this undo. Okay, it's working fine. Now click on redo. It is also working fine. So when we click on clear button, it will basically remove all the circles on from the screen, right? Let's test again. Okay, so the last task is basically disabling these all the buttons. Now let's add the disable button functionality. Go to this button prop and add the disable prop. And if the circles array is empty, we want to disable this undo function. You can see it is now disabled, and when we add some circles, it is now able to work, right? Now let's make it to the redo button as well. If pop circles array is empty, okay, it is now disabled. Let's now undo, and now it is able to work. Now go to this clear button and add this functionality as well. So for that button, I want to make it disable if the circles array and pop circles array both are empty. Okay, our requirements are completed. Let's test our result. Reload and add some circles here. Now let's test this undo. Now redo button is active and we can redo the last circle. And if we click on clear, all the circles will disappear from the screen and the state is now empty. Okay, we have completed this project. Make sure you like this video and I will see you in the next video.